All right. So today we are going to be doing DocuSign templates. Everybody ready? All right. I am going to go into Command, where we always start everything. Are you guys able to see that screen? Excellent. All right. So we are going to go into Opportunities. And as always, too, you can go directly to DocuSign. The way to access DocuSign is realestate.docusign.com. You can go into just docusign.com and then switch to the rooms version, but just going into realestate.docusign.com is the easier way to do it. All right, I'm just going to pick one of my opportunities here and go in and go to Documents, and then that'll take me over into DocuSign. Got to move our pictures here. Go to Transaction. All right, so that's going to take me into DocuSign. We'll get logged in. And so we'll begin first with the buyer template. So we're going to look at buyer agency agreement. Again, as we were talking about earlier, DocuSign templates are designed for forms that are generally repetitive in nature. You're using, the same fields in each case, so it's always staying the same, and this allows you not to have to fill it out every single time. But I'm also going to show you here, if you can see my screen, let me stop share because I want you to see this. I have gone to, in one of these windows, it's open. There we are. So on answers.kw.com, and I will share this link with you guys, on answers.kw.com, this is the step-by-step instructions for what we're going to do today. And that way you'll have it to go back to. I'm going to share this on the Market Center Facebook page as well. But that way you guys will have it as a reference for this. And I will hopefully be posting this video to my YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of the day, but definitely by tomorrow if I don't get to it sooner. So there's that. And let's come back to DocuSign. All right. So when we're in DocuSign, in this case, we're in a specific room. So because this is how I accessed it through Command, but I want to click on My Docs. So that's where we're going to go to begin with. Making sure you're in the Rooms version. So you'll be in Rooms and just click over to My Docs. When it comes up, we're going to see Form Templates. And we're going to go there. All right, and then.
What if we don't have form templates?
You do not have form templates. Are you in DocuSign Rooms?
Oh, I was looking up too high. Sorry, I'm being stupid.
You're good, you're good.
But I am clearly playing along, Jay.
That's good. All right, so we are going to click Create Form Template, and then it's going to ask us where do we want to get the form from. And so we are going to select SCAR. And then in this case, we're going to start with exclusive right to buy buyer agency. So that is form 130. So we're going to use that form. All right. And we're going to run through what it looks like, what you might want to keep the same, what you might not to. Obviously, this is your form. So you get to build it however it is that you run your business. So obviously in section 1, that's going to change, albeit except for the Keller Williams, Charleston, West Ashley part. So you can go ahead and put that in. But your client's name is always going to be different as what, so leave that alone. In most cases, I would imagine that this is always going to be residential and that your descriptions here are always the same. At least that's the way I do mine. So that's what I'm going to put here. And obviously you can change this if need be when you're actually preparing the form for signature. You'll still have the ability to make edits and changes, but it's just going to pull up the things that you've saved here. The price range I'm going to leave alone because obviously that's going to be different for every single client. General location, I always use the same verbiage here. So I just always say the greater Charleston Tri-County metro area. You guys, again, can put whatever you want. I never put anything for preferred terms or other. I always leave those blank anyway. So that's where we are there. And please feel free to share if you guys do something different here. Obviously we can learn from each other on this. Section 3 has nothing to fill out. Section 4 has nothing to fill out. Next thing we do is section 5. And so in this case, for me, and again, if you do something different, let me know, we can talk about it. But I always use brokerage fee, and I always do both option 1 and 2. My clients often ask why I do that. And that is because option 2 says that I'm going to get compensated from the transaction. And so that means that whatever the cooperating broker, or in this case, the listing agent, whatever that agent has offered to pay, that's what I'm accepting. As we have seen that, those numbers can vary anywhere from 2 to 3%, generally speaking. And so what I always do is give myself the ability to get my 3%. And that's where the option 1 part comes in. The way I explain it to my clients is that if for some reason they're not paying a full 3% or 2.5% or something that I think is appropriate, then I can bill my clients for the difference. The only time where I've ever really actually had to do that was one time when I represented my buyer in a for sale by owner, and the for sale by owner would not pay the commission. The buyer ended up paying the commission on that one. And that's where this comes in handy because it gives you that ability to actually do that, later. Again, you guys can do however, you like, but this is what I do for mine. So I always will keep it the same. I don't do anything in section B. These are all blank for me. So we're going to move past that. The same is true for term of agency. Obviously, this is going to be different for every single one. I typically make my contracts a 6-month contract. I've seen some agents do it for a whole year. It's really up to you how you want to do that. But you'll have to fill this in every time as well. Moving on down, section 7. The only thing here is the signatures. I'm curious, and we're going to learn this together. I'm curious how the signatures apply with these templates, because if you can go ahead and save those as well, that would save a lot of time, but I'm not entirely sure if that's an option yet. So we're going to figure that out together, hopefully. Sections 8 and 9 have nothing to select. Sections 10 is where you said the broker either does or does not have the buyer's permission to disclose the buyer's identity. 99.9% of the time, you are going to be disclosing the buyer's identity. The only case I can think of would if it's a celebrity that they don't want anybody to know where they're buying property. They're going through a legal process to keep their identity hidden. Obviously, that's the case, but that's the only time I can think that would ever be appropriate. Sections 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 have no selections. If you use any sort of contingencies on each contract, you can obviously type them in here, and they will save as well. And then you're kind of golden. Everything is pretty much selected at this point on this one. All you need to do now is click Save and Close. And that template will save right here in your templates form. Now, You can come in and edit it at any time, or you can copy it and then make it different so that one, works a little differently. If you have maybe 2 different versions per se that you want to do, you can do that as well. So you could have the same form with 2 different templates. All right. That's how we create the template for the buyer agency. Now let's go and see how we actually use these templates. All
Hey,
right.
Jay, I'm going to jump in. I just noticed if you click edit, that it'll let you, and you go up to the top, there's like a pencil up there, and you can change it to, if you can remind your, like, exclusive right to buy residential, and then you could add one that's commercial or whatever, and then you don't have to change those things if you want to do, you know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
wanted to
absolutely.
copy it and save them as, you know what I'm saying? Okay,
Absolutely.
sorry.
Absolutely.
Didn't
Yeah,
articulate.
you're good. You're good. All right. So now we're going to talk about how to use these forms. So I'm going to come back into rooms. And I am going to, I think I have a test room that we can use here. Yeah. So I'm going to see if we can pull up that template into this room. All right. So add DocuSign forms, I believe. Oh, nope, hang on. I did that wrong.
Where'd you go to get to this?
Hang on, that's not right anyway. All right, this is the part I
Do
gotta.
the plus sign. Do the plus sign.
That one?
Yeah.
It doesn't give me the templates option. Hang on one second. Let me refer back to my notes here.
Do you have to maybe change active documents to templates? Is there an option for that?
I don't think so, but that's a
No.
good thought.
Try all documents.
That's just the difference, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the difference between what you've archived and
Oh
what's
yeah,
active.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
All right, hang on. All right. Let me go back to answers here because see, I love learning together.
It's all good. That's how you learn.
Well, I definitely got the building them right. I just can't remember how to pull the form in.
I wonder when you create your. Oh, got an idea. Let's create a new room. Maybe like let me do this. If you create a new room, select decide by side, right? In the United States. Save. I wonder if they're only available once you've created the new room or something. I'm
It's
looking to
supposed
see.
to be, let's see. Let me try this. I think
That didn't
when
work.
you
What I
when
just
you
said.
when you load the base form in, I think you can then Nope. All right. Hold on. We'll figure it out. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, whoops, I shouldn't have clicked that. Close that out. So you go to the document in question, and on a Mac, you would press Control, or on a PC, you're going to right click and then click Apply from Form Template. And then if you have more than one of that particular form, like Stella was saying, you could have one for residential, one for commercial, whatever that looks like. You select the appropriate one and then apply.
So wait, we go back to where we created it in templates
Yep, so
to do that?
So nope. So you're in documents here, in the documents room. You add your document, the form 130. Then you right click on the document and click apply form template. Then you select the right one. In this case, there's only one, and you apply it. All right. Then you should see when you go in, it should be filled for you based on what we put into the template. Okay. Now you're also going to see, and this is where this part comes in handy too. If you have client information on the details tab, which in this case I don't, because this is my test room. So I'm going to add that really quick just to show you guys how it should look. In this case, we are buyer. So this is always my buyer, Betty Buyer. And then I'm going to make sure that buyer agent is in there. Oops. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my document, and all of the autofill stuff should be in there now as well.
Okay, Jay, I got a dumb question for you.
Go for it.
Can you pre-tag signature places?
So that's the part that,
like for the sellers, like the disclosure thing that we have, that one you have to go in every time and put that pre-tag. Right. Yeah, like most of them, the pre-tag roles just show up for you, but
that is something that I don't think we have the ability to do yet.
Okay.
However,
sorry, I'm throwing you like.
No. However, because in all fairness, that's one of the parts that does take the longest amount of time. And so I am going to find out if that's an option. And if not, can it be? So let me make a note here so that I reach out to my people. All right. So let's now
There's
go
got to be a way, because if they've done it, like if someone has done it for the forms that we already have, then there's got to be a way. You know what I mean?
agreed. Let's go. Let's just play with something really quick. Let's bring this form in to the templates here. Because this gives us the use a template option. And so in here, it doesn't have any templates. So, all right, how do we make that happen? Let's go play around with this. Form templates. Yeah, I don't know. Because you need to get it in the envelope in order to be able to mess with signatures. So let's see. So if we go into envelopes, because you would have to use either the room doc or let's see, use a template. There's no templates in here. All right, I'm gonna do some offline research on that, you guys, and get back to you. None of the notes that I have reference that. It only talks about the filling out the form.
Sorry, I'm a pain.
No, you're good. Because I think that if we could have that part done also, that's obviously going to save us even more time. So I will reach out to Paul on that and see. So rooms, documents, apply form template. All right, so I'm going to share both of those links with you on the forms, on the templates, and then I'm going to do some more research on the signature side of things, because that is a separate process. Let me see one more thing. Yeah, there's something on here that's 2 years old, so I don't think it's going to be very specific. Forms inbox. Yep. Actually, I think I may have just found something. All right, let's try something here. So I'm going to save and close this. All right, I'm going to click on my name and switch to e-signature. All right, once we're over in the e-signature platform, we can go to templates, then click new template. All right. See, this is where I think it's going to get a little interesting. Yeah, let me do some more research on this and come back with you guys on the signature side of things, because I don't know if this is going to work right on the room side. And that's where all our forms live. Like, we can't access our forms through this side. So let me do some more research on that, and I'll come back to you guys.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, I just threw a curveball at you. How were you supposed to know I was coming with that?
I love curveballs though. So signature, and we'll go back. All right. Any questions about the forms themselves or the templates themselves? We're going to go and do a listing agreement template.
I need a split screen.
Same. Same.
I've got one sitting on my floor in my frog right now. I just keep forgetting to bring it here. Okay, so you went to room, or you went to My Docs.
Yep. So what we want to do is, yep, we got to go
Inform
to
template.
My Docs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's being so slow.
Hey, AJ, let me ask you while it's pulling this up. When you do your drop down, it says select a library. I don't have those other 3 libraries in my normal drop down. Why do they show up here and not in the
That's
other?
a good question. I was actually thinking the same thing because they don't show up in the regular room, if you will, but they do show up here.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer because I was honestly thinking the same thing. I will say that the KW934, that's obviously our market center specific like forms. We don't have any of those. So that's probably why it doesn't show up. With the CHS MLS, it is also my understanding that the Trident, like our local board, does not also have its own forms. I know in Columbia they do, and Hilton Head they do also. They have their own like board specific forms, but we just use the state forms here, so that might be why they don't show up. But I don't know that for sure. Let's just click one and see if anything shows up. Yep, nothing shows up in that one. Nothing shows up in that one. So that's probably why they don't show up in your regular window anyway, because there's nothing actually in there. All right, so we are going to do exclusive right to sell listing agreement, SCAR form 220. I'm gonna move you guys out of my way again. Use.
Sarah, I'm talking all the talking. Celeste, tell me to shut
You're
up if I'm
good.
talking too much.
Nope, love it.
I'm gonna be
I like
honest
the
with y'all.
creative
I
problem solving.
DocuSign, so I mean, other than like just like popping a document in for someone to sign, like I think that's great. But otherwise, I use a completely other system. So I'm really trying to figure out how I can make DocuSign work for me, because right now it doesn't.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to run through this really quick, and then we'll come back to that, Celeste, and we'll talk about maybe hopefully clearing up a few misconceptions, because that's probably what it is.
Oh, I'm 100% sure it's a user problem.
And we'll see if we can make.
I think it's easier for me because I started with DocuSign and I didn't love dotloop. So I think all those people that started with dotloop have a different feeling about it. But
well, I will say honestly, I was a big proponent for DocuSign because I've been using the DocuSign e-signature platform for years, and so I really liked it. Now that said, I always had to manually go in and put in my boxes and put in my signatures, and that was kind of obnoxious. I was used to in dotloop where a lot of that was already done for me with the forms, and so I appreciated that from dotloop. I also appreciated the fact from dotloop that the forms and the signatures, like filling out the forms and the signatures, you did it all at the same time. Although I understand why DocuSign does it differently, it took some adjusting for me to get there. And then I have had a few personal glitches with DocuSign, and it's because KW is the moderator for our DocuSign account. We can't have, DocuSign can't fix it. We have to go through KW to get it fixed. And that's on purpose, and that's by design. But it's also a little frustrating when, DocuSign, or KW, I should say, has 3,600 versions of forms that they have to deal with. In South Carolina, there are, there's the SCAR forms, but then there's also 4 other boards that use their own forms. So they have to have those as well. It gets really fun, especially when you have, 50 states and Canada all using this platform. So anyway, in this case, we are going to go through again, fill out what we know stays the same. Again, that Keller Williams, Charleston West Ashley is always going to be the same, so we can fill that out. With this stuff, obviously it's always going to be different with the lot specific stuff. So you're going to have to do that. Price, again, it's very, contract specific, so you would want to leave that alone. However, you can put in the percentage here, if it always stays the same, just be mindful to adjust it if you do use a flexible or commission scale option. You again, like Stella said earlier, you could say one at 6%, one at 7%, one that's 8% if you do use a graduated scale. That way you just select which one you're doing. I always put 90 days here. Again, some people put more, some people put less. That's up to you personally. On the compensation of broker, how it works. Again, I always
How many
pay.
days do you do, Jay?
Say that again. I do 90. I do
How many
90.
do you do?
I do 90
90?
for
Okay.
everything. Yep. If it asks me a number of days after the fact, it's always 90. That's my default. Because that's 3 months. I mean, if you haven't figured it out by 3 months, then oh well. I don't want to keep chasing you down that long. Here, obviously, we've got buyer agency, sub agency. If you guys use, a different version for this, I do 3% for buyer agency, 2.5% for transaction, and 2.5% for sub agency. Completely up to you how you do that. If you have questions about that, obviously defer to Joseph on what you should do. It is our policy that all of these be at least 2.5%. Anything below that, you absolutely need broker approval for.
Really? I always do
Yes.
1% for transaction broker. Ooh, I need to change that.
No, I always put $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, again, you guys, it's your business, so you can do whatever. I would just encourage you to have a conversation with Joseph about it so that you better understand what it means. Not that you don't understand it, that's not at all what I'm saying. Just have that conversation because it is our brokerage policy to have 2.5% on every form, unless it's otherwise approved. And if you want to do it your way, Joseph's probably not going to tell you
No,
no.
I'm just over here scratching my head like what we're saying with that is that being full agency is only worth 0.5% more than just doing transactional work. I'm like,
well, and again, this is where I think it's good to have a conversation with Joseph because his opinion is if you're going to pay buyer agency 3%, you should pay all of them 3%. You want to give every opportunity to your client for the co-op, and you don't want to punish somebody because they do something different.
that makes sense.
I acknowledge the fact that that's the case, but I also like to keep in the back of my mind too that if it is transaction brokerage or sub agency, I'm probably going to end up doing more work. So I adjust accordingly.
Well, that's why I put
but
$1,000.
again, that's up to you. You get to do that however you want. But I do encourage you, if you haven't had a conversation with Joseph about that, to have a conversation with him about it, because he'll kind of explain why the policy is the way it is. And again, he's probably not going to tell you you can't do what you're doing. He just wants to have a conversation with you about it.
Okay.
And if there, if you do dollar amount fees or whatever, you can put those in. Sections 5, 6, 7 do not have anything on them. Section 8, E is the only one that in 8 that has anything. I always put 500 here. Granted, I've never actually had to do something and have my client pay me back. But, I do tell my clients, and this is the only time that I have had to spend money, if you don't keep your grass cut, I'm going to send somebody over to cut it and you're going to pay me back for it. And so that's why I put this here. Or if, the house needs cleaning and you're not there and, we need to have it cleaned, I'm going to do that too. That sort of stuff. That's what this is here for. Again, you can put 0, you can put 100, you can put 1,000. It's whatever you guys want to do. I put 500 because that should be more than enough to cover anything that I might agree to do out of my own pocket. 9 has nothing, 10 has nothing. All right, so then we get into the multiple listing service, public marketing. And in this case, you have to pick 1 or 2. And in this case, it's does the seller consent to marketing in the MLS or do they not want it to? I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but like some people are weird. I always say the The client agrees. Owner agrees that the listing will be placed in electronic marketing mediums, including but not limited to the internet, the MLS data exchange, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Lockbox. Owner agrees.
Okay, wait, Jay, scroll up. When you select LockBot, yep, does it on yours too.
Oh, look at you.
Unchecks that.
Yeah, it does it on mine
Yes,
too.
it drives me
Yeah.
insane.
Okay, let me make a note of that because that's another form glitch that I don't like. Where'd my pencil go?
But that's not even in just a template. It does it consistently.
Yeah, there
It
are
does
a
it
couple other
when you're filling it
glitches,
out.
that I've made that in a few other forms that I'm bringing to DocuSign's attention. All right, so this is SCAR 220. Option 3 or section 13 and 14. So if y'all encounter other little glitches like that where something doesn't work the way it should, let me know because I can get those corrected. It might take a couple weeks for them to get it, but we can definitely get that put in. They've already been able to correct a couple.
That's the only one I've encountered.
All right. Other offers, yada, 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 nothing else on that one. And again, with these two, photography and surveillance, are obviously new, I think as of last year or year before last. If you guys aren't familiar and aren't reminding your clients on the listing side of things, like if they have a Nest camera or a Ring doorbell or something like that, you have to make sure that the people coming into the property are aware of that. It is highly illegal for them to be recording people without them knowing it. It's perfectly fine for them to have it. You just have to alert people somehow that they're being recorded. Now, obviously, I think on the Nest doorbells and all that sort of stuff, that you ought to know better by now. But if there's cameras on the inside of the house, you have to disclose that so that your guests and people, when they walk in, they can see that. So that's what this surveillance talks about. Obviously, they've become super popular and a lot of people have them. And on the buy side of things, when you're showing property, I always remind my clients, you're probably being recorded in this person's house. So be mindful of what you say inside the house. They don't want, we don't want something you say, you're making fun of their painting or something to prevent you from winning the offer. So be mindful of that. And that's really it with this form as well. All the things that you can kind of pre-fill and that are automatically selected. Again, I don't know what's going on with this. That's weird. 13 and 14, but I'll figure that out and get that corrected. And then we save and close that template. All right. Any other questions about templates? Now you're going to see these, as you build these out, they're going to get, there's going to be multiple ones of them. These are the two forms that I think you're probably going to benefit the most from having a template for, but there are a couple of others that if you use them frequently, you could save some time as well.
I would say your offer one having your whatchamajiggy in it too. License number
There's a
and all
handful of
that.
things in the license number and a couple other things in there that would be helpful as well. We have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to stop recording this and then we will play around a little bit with Celeste and what she was asking about.